So, good evening and welcome to episode 5 of Keep the Vision. As always, I'm joined by my co host, William O'Donnell. Great to see you, William. How are you?
Great to see you too, Alan. Hi, everybody. Thanks for listening. Episode 5. I'm really looking forward to this tonight. It's going to be something a bit different. Is that right, Alan?
Yes, the whole idea is that William and I come online and we talk about, subjects that are close to our heart, and that may be based around a book that I've just read recently, a success we've had in goal setting. And so although the episodes up until now have been around, 40 to 50 minutes, we're not sticking to any specific time schedule. So, William, we do want to make this as authentic as possible. So, why don't you start the show by asking me a question that's a burning question that's at the forefront of your mind?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I like it. I like it. Okay, so obviously we've mentioned before about the challenging times that everybody's facing in the world just now. So, getting everybody back on track mentally would be sort of putting down roots for your future and setting goals for yourself like we do. So, just asking you, what's a big goal you're looking to achieve at the moment, Alan?
For me, there's a good two or three kind of big goals that I'm looking to work towards. And as you know, it's not maybe this. It's maybe not necessarily easy to come up with a goal because you really need to have clarity when you're goal setting. As you know, if you ask someone directly, "What do you want?" Everyone out there must have something that they. What do you really want? And I think when you ask that question and you're honest with yourself, the answer will come forward. And coming up with a goal is great, and you write that goal down. But as you very well know, William, it's about taking action. So for me, getting back to your question, for me it's about improving my home situation. So I'm very grateful for where I am at the moment, but I feel that I've outgrown my current home, so I'm looking for somewhere slightly larger, and somewhere where I can um, possibly do work from in terms of a photographic studio. It doesn't have to be massive. I'm talking about portrait work here. So that is probably at the forefront of my mind just now, is improving my home situation. Somewhere larger, uh, somewhere where it will afford me maybe a larger garden as well. So, as I said in the previous episode, none of us need to feel guilty about wanting to have a rich life. There's a power out there. There's a law out there that suggests that you know there's an abundance out there for all of us. And just as it comes into my head there, that for example, money. You know, we can do a lot more help in others and providing service to others if we have more money. There's no joy to be gained in being, frugal in life. And I guess there could be a few people out there that might contest that viewpoint. But the more I study, personal development, that's my gut feeling. Again, I'm kind of going off on a tangent there regarding the goals that you just asked about me. Certainly, the home environment would be for me, William.
Yeah, great. Well, good luck with everything, Alan. It's something that you said there I'll pick up on, asking yourself, what do you really want? And I think that's the ultimate question, I think, isn't it? I think people that want to change their circumstances, I know like ourselves that have got businesses and, we're comfortable in the sort of our environment like that. We like to think we're successful in our business. But I think for people that want to actually change their ways or change their career and their lifestyle, you ask yourself, what do you really want? And we spoke previously about this, about getting emotional intelligence behind that, connecting to the emotion of why you want to do it. And we talked about, other things like why power instead of willpower. So if anybody's listening, they can dive back into a previous episode where we mentioned that. But no, that's fantastic. So I wish you all the success with that. I know how much you've manifested things over the years with your program planners and other things, and how dedicated and how much clarity and vision and power and strategy, all these things that you've had previously to manifest that into your life, as well as your successful business. So, no, good luck to everything you're doing there. Fantastic.
So, what about your good self, William? What's at the forefront of your, goal setting?
Similar thing to yourself regarding a house. We've recently just, me and my wife have bought a new house, and that's been something we've been building on towards, well, since my son was born, really, sort of building a new life and a foundation for him, for his future as well. It's all about him, really. So, so that's been a goal of mine, just to sort of, and to get a sort of new home and get a new environment, and know that a more comfortable environment I'm in just now, just trying to improve our lifestyle a little bit from where we're in. But it's interesting, Alan, because I've always said it's like bricks and mortar to me. I mean, as long as I'm happy, I mean, I could live in a shed or something like that. I've always said that. I know it might sound a bit ridiculous to say something like that, but I think I've learnt to develop that. I mean, not really look for external things to make myself happy. Go for the internal feeling. Go for all the happiness, joy, fulfillment inside. Work on that as your strength. Make that your sort of core of your whole being, and from that you'll be happy. And then if you want to go out and get more abundance in the world, if you want a bigger house, you want a bigger career, more fame, success, whatever you're chasing, then fantastic. But it all has to start within. You've got to find that strength within, and find that happiness within, because happiness is an inside job. Great quote there. I know we talk about quotes, so there's a great quote. So yeah, I know of an often one there, but I think obviously with the house situation, I'm excited about it, but I'm always excited about how to develop myself as much as anything, because I feel as if you could probably completely agree in this, obviously, because we're on a journey of self-development, and I think it's like every day I always think to myself, how can I evolve? How can I change? How can I be better? And I think it's not that I think there's anything wrong with me at the moment, but I think I want to always gain more knowledge, more insight, more understanding about certain things. And so I think that's the kind of level that I'm at regarding, how I think about life. Because, don't chase after your dream house and lose yourself along the way. Because you see people that do that, people that drive themselves into debt or whatever, or drive themselves into the ground to get their business right and other things, and then they lose themselves completely. So I think first and foremost, look after yourself, get happiness within yourself, start liking yourself, start loving yourself. That's what I would say, and have a healthy respect for yourself. And from that inner feeling, go out there and try, and if you want more abundance, go for that. But work in yourself first and get happy within yourself. So I suppose if you were asking me what my goal would be, ultimate goal, it's just that, just working through that every day, and then all the outer things will come. Like you say, houses, holidays, more opportunities, I think, and more creative ideas, I think, will come from that. So although house is my goal, I've got other things. You can tell I'm passionate about speaking. I want to do more coaching in the future, Alan. So if you're asking me about further goals, to evolve myself into more coaching, I do some youth coaching at the school where I live, and just to do more with that, and just, as I say, drive the business forward. More happiness within my family, and so I think that's the most important things, I think, for me anyway, regarding goal setting.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I can't. I can only agree with everything you're saying there, and that's something that I can say quite comfortably that I'm going through a period just now where I feel very content with life from an internal viewpoint. So my meditations come easily. I can go quite deep. I get some nice results from that. Pretty stress free. I could easily allow myself to become stressed out with challenges that I have, and with let's just say use the business as an example, but I refuse to do that. I'm grateful every single day for my health. Yeah. Absolutely, you're not good without that. So these are things that are all in place for me. I'm using tools like meditation, fairly regular exercise. I could be doing a bit more, but again, I know that I'll come back. Grateful for the family that I have in my life. Grateful for the friends that always seem to show up at the right time. So as a result of that, you touched on there, that is my foundation. I feel pretty grounded just now, so I'm very comfortable with reaching out and asking the universe, if you like, for a new home that it's not necessarily going to make me happier. It's just about looking for comfort and knowing that I look forward to the days when you can start entertaining again, inviting friends and family over, just having social evenings. And I'm not saying I can't do that just now, but I know that I know the kind of environment that I want to build, within my home that will make me feel proud and happy, and I'll feel excited about inviting the family and friends over. So that's where all that comes from regarding the goal setting side.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right what you say. You want to feel comfortable and happy in your home environment. So it's a big thing for anybody, to feel that. I think obviously I just made a bit of a crazy point about I could live anywhere, but I think I think for me it is a bit like that. But no, you're bang on, because you want to. Like you say, you've got this probably vision in your head of your grandchildren running about in your new house, and your daughter and stuff like that. And you've got all of these images in your mind, and the thoughts make you feel good, So you've got this sort of pictures in your mind. So I think that's key, and a great thing. We maybe touch on that slightly. I mean, we've called it the Keep the Vision podcast. It's like you've got to create images in your mind to build excitement in your life. So, like you say, if people, want to achieve more, just try and don't do meditation or anything. Just honestly, just close your eyes and think of images of you and your great moments that you want to be in, and challenge yourself to get there. I mean, if it's, if you want to manifest a relationship, or you want to manifest a new house, or a new opportunity for yourself in a career or whatever, it can be done. But if you can kind of just keep a vision of what you want to do, and then from that start building blocks, start putting a plan in place, but obviously keep that vision in the mind, that what you want to achieve, and then that'll give you motivation. And obviously every day, it's not every day sunshine and rainbows. You're going to get challenged a lot. Some days you might not be feeling 100%. That's fine. That's life. But if you kind of have some kind of vision and some sort of goal that you're driving yourself towards, it makes such a massive difference in your life, Alan, doesn't it? If you've got that, because if you've not got that, you're just kind of generally just journeying through life, and you'll get peaks and troughs, and you'll never kind of be fulfilled in a sense. But I think if you've got something that you're aiming for, I mean, that makes a massive difference to how you're behaving every day. I think you'll get out of bed. You'll get out of bed earlier. You'll jump up in the morning. You'll get yourself motivated to do things. You'll not spend another hour in bed like you shouldn't be doing, and then guilt kicks in. Oh, I shouldn't be doing that. I'm in a bad cycle. I'm in a bad rut. So, because the reason I'm kind of maybe sounding quite about this, and I say that because I know so many friends of mine, Alan, are people that they just don't know how to dig their way out, and I don't want to be a coach to my friends, but if anybody was asking me, how to help them change their life, I would say, look, listen to what me and Alan are talking about, listen to things I'm saying. There's ways that you can change, and I don't know if you've ever came across people that are sort of always sort of in the past, Alan. They can't see a future for themselves. They can't see anything, as if like they're constantly living in yesterday. And I think it's a shame, isn't it? It's like, and that's one thing that you probably agree with, that I would like to achieve with the podcast, is to try to get people's sort of train of thought to sort of just to keep a vision of what they want to do.
Yeah.
How they want to change, I should say.
Yeah. No, again, I couldn't agree more. Touching on what you said there about having goals and having a goal so big that when you wake up in the morning, your first thought is, right, let's get up and get on with what needs to be done. So it's about purpose. Give yourself a purpose, give yourself a reason for getting up in the morning. And of course that could be for any reason, for becoming more fitter, more healthier, getting down to work on your business, your career, whatever that may be. But it's about creating purpose. And touching on, I've been very, very guilty in the past of, living in the past. And that just means, you're not making any progress at all. And I think, having a goal, having a really big goal, helps change the direction of your thinking. So you've been guilty of falling into the trap of, thinking about the past. The past is gone. You cannot control that. It's gone, and each and every one of us out there, we've all made mistakes. We all could go back and make better decisions, but we can't do that. So create a new future for yourself by setting a really big goal. And the idea, that we've both learnt by doing the work, William, is, it's having the faith. Mm-hmm. Because there'll be days when you think, right, I'm doing all this work and nothing's really happening. But, there's a greater power out there that's actually setting things up for us. And we have to make sure that we are ready, that when the gates open, that we're in a position to walk through it and walk in to receive what we've asked for. Mm-hmm. So it's doing the work, but keeping the faith, being grateful for where we are, what we have, and just being strong. Just be strong. And yeah, it could take a little while, but just keep the faith. And we keep saying it, keep the vision. You touched on it there, William. When before you go to bed at night, close your eyes and visualize you having already achieved your goal. Mm-hmm. And you go to sleep thereafter, and your subconscious mind starts to work on that and connects with that, that superpower that's out there, that's ultimately the creator of the world in which we live. So yeah, I was going a bit deep there, but hey ho.
No, that's amazing. No, it's amazing. Just a couple of things that you said there. It struck a chord with me. I think it's like you say, it's keeping the vision, isn't it? It's like it's just something that doesn't get taught enough, I don't think. I think it's like, just getting back to my childhood, and I think that's the thing. You get back to, everybody goes through their life and they thinks about the stuff of their past, and it's so relevant just now. There's things that you'll never forget, and I think it's like getting back to like the educational side of things. That's the difference I've wanted to make in this world, Alan, is like give something back to sort of, helping kids that are sort of, just a little bit sort of not so much lost. It's just like at a crossroad about, they don't know what's the next step for them, and it can be tough. And if guys like me or you can just impart a bit of wisdom in a podcast, or go up to the school, or do any kind of mentoring or coaching, in any kind of capacity, I think these things are amazing. Just and like I mentioned when we were on the Mindstore meeting earlier, that all this stuff, all this content's there forever. And, my son will get access to this when he's older, and your kids will as well. And listen at any time, and I feel proud of that. I feel really proud of that, because I feel as if we're maybe creating a wee bit of legacy for ourselves. We will look back on and think, look what we have achieved here. Look what we've done. We've actually got some people listening to what we're saying, and it's changed their train of thought for the better. And and I think for me and you, we realise that for ourselves, it's changing our sort of ways. Not that we need to change, but as I mentioned earlier, that we're starting to kind of evolve ourselves even more through doing this. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Something just popped into my head there. I meant to mention at the beginning of the podcast, and I'm speaking for myself here. It's almost like a bit of a disclaimer, but I'm not qualified at all in any shape or form in the area of personal development. What I do when I come on to this podcast is just talk about my life journey, which includes, the study and practice of personal development. So I just wanted to get that one out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, likewise. I mean, I've done little things like I've done some coaching courses online and things. I've done. I'm a practitioner in NLP. For anybody that's listening, maybe in another episode I can talk a little bit deeper about that. Neuro-linguistic programming, which is a communication model, all about language and how we interact with the world. And people like Paul McKenna and Steve Peters speak passionately about it, and and are master practitioners of it. Let's just say that, and it's used a lot in coaching and a lot of therapists and have got the qualification in it. So, but in general speaking, I mean, bits of paper don't mean anything to me. It's about sort of life experience, and Alan's the exact same. Is that right, Alan? It's just about the way you've journeyed through life and what's happened in life, and how can things that you've read and that's another big thing. I mean, I think the whole reading aspect is massive. I think, as I say, we live in a world where technology is just went crazy, isn't it? So I think it's too easy just to, get lost in technology, but try and get back to the sort of fundamental important things of reading a good book. It's massive what it'll do for your own well-being. So I try and sometimes with busy lives, we've been a parent now, that I don't get a chance to read as much as I do, but I put the podcasts on in the car, I put audiobooks on in the car, cooking, I've got something on, listening to, and jokingly said to Alan as well, I says, I put Alan's got a very soothing voice compared to me, so he's good with the meditations and things. If I want to relax later on tonight, I'll stick a Alan Ingalls audiobook on. so that's another side career for you there, Alan. You could
absolutely. It would seem to be, yeah.
Yeah, you could create another goal, and you could become a sort of you've got a great voice for it actually, for the audiobooks and stuff actually, and the relaxation side of things. But no, just a wee bit of a funny comment there. But no, all seriousness, it's great just to listen to new stuff, isn't it? It's and try and learn, and just see where that takes you, because don't have a closed mind and people want to change. I know, maybe repeat myself from earlier, but it's just trying to sort of evolve your mind in different ways. And who knows where if I keep doing this, where it will eventually take me. But I think that's the challenge for me. But we've got a lot of same themes going on in each episodes, but it is all about action, isn't it, Alan? It's all about action. You can,
you can
talk, but you need to walk the talk.
Yeah, bang on. You know what it's like. Some days we could wake up and we feel on top of the world. Other days we just don't feel like on top of the world. And for me, you just touched on reading a good book there. If you're not feeling you're at your best, having a good book, close by, can just help give you a little reminder of the goal that you set yourself, the journey that you want to be on. And I know that we make a lot of references to Mindstore, which is a model of personal development developed by Jack Black like 30 plus years ago. But there's lots of systems out there, And when you dig deep into them all, they're all kind of saying the same thing, and they all touch on goals, and they all talk about, being persistent, in your action. And the persistence will become stronger if you have faith. Again, I touched on that earlier. So yeah, having a good book close by, and I'm talking about reading a chapter, even a couple of pages. It will resonate with your inner self, and it just makes you feel good. And you think, yeah, of course, that's where I want to be. What was I thinking about? And within a very short space of time, any negativity that was lurking around there, you've knocked it into touch, and you're back on track again. You're back on, taking action in the appropriate way to get towards your goal, or just simply what you want to achieve that day. We've spoken before, William, about showing up as the best version of ourselves. And yeah, there's lots of different versions of our best self. So just in that particular day, be the best that you can be, and do the best that you can be. Do the best that you can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about keeping your senses open to unexpected opportunities that may help, taking a step forward or two, towards your goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. That's amazing, Alan. Yeah, I think just developing some kind of philosophy as well. I sort of just like, we've done a mission statement for this. If you've got a kind of philosophy of life, of how you want to be in this world, I know it might sound quite deep, but it's like you've done a lot of Bob Proctor stuff, and he's touched on it, or a lot of personal development gurus, let's just say, talk about, developing that sort of philosophy in life about how you show up in the world, how you think and feel. And sometimes you might think, oh, this is out your control, but it's outcomes, I think, that determine how people think that is the case. And it's not really. I mean, it's something that I was listening to quite recently, Alan. It's quite amazing, actually. I touch on for another podcast I was listening to, and I heard someone mentioning about high performance in life is about total engagement more than outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more about how we're engaging just right now, or how you're engaging when you're, with your family, or you're with a client or whatever. You're either present or you're not. You're either totally present or you're not. And if you're like that in a sort of, if you're in a state of joy in anything, then you're totally truly present, and you're engaged, and that is, you're performing to the highest level for yourself because you're doing that. And it might not be something that a lot of people maybe think. I've never really thought about that before. You'd think, high performance or success is, having, £1 million or something, or whatever you think that is, or having the dream job that you feel as if you'd never get. But if you can if you can say to yourself, I've done everything today that I thought, I've done my best at everything today, then that's incredible.
Yep.
If you go like that, one day I'm going to do everything absolutely right for myself. I'm going to tell my kids I love them. I'm going to tell my wife I love her. I'm going to, have the best day at work. I'm going to have a rapport with my customers. I'm going to speak to my neighbour. I'll just try everything. I'm going to just have a nice meal, and I'm going to do a bit of exercise. Just think, what is the pure perfect way that you can be in a day? See if you've done all that, and then you make that consistent. Just think of what you can become, or how you can be, if you were to actually think to yourself, this is a way that I need to be for a sustained day. That's it. And then can I do it the next day, and the next day, and the next day? Yeah,
and I think from what you've said there, William, the more you practice that philosophy, it becomes a habit then, and it becomes part of your nature, I would say. But yeah, all of that sounds fantastic. What popped into my head there when you were speaking, William, was a book that I've read, called Ask and Be Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks. There's a section in that book that talks about breaking your day up into blocks of time. So, say for example, the first 15 minutes of your day is showering and having breakfast. Just think about that. Then say the next thing you're planning to do is, get in the car and travel to work. That's the next segment of your life. So, and it took me a little while for the penny to drop, but I think what that exercise is doing is it's helping you stay in the present. Because how often, once we jump in the car, we go to work, the half hour, 1 hour journey passes and it's like we arrive and it's like, oh heck, where have we been? It's about just being present. And likewise, as you've just said, you show up at work, who is actually showing up? But because you've put aside the block of time that took you to get ready, to get dressed for work, the breakfast part of it all, because you've now put aside, the journey into work, you arrive at work and you arrive, let's just say, the best version of yourself. So you're fully at attention, fully present for the meeting at work. Just communicating with your colleagues, any projects you're working on. It's a really good exercise around just staying in the present time. And of course, we practice, head to toe relaxations. Again, I'm going to refer to Jack Black when he says if we can do that 2 or 3 times a day, what it's doing is it's allowing us to let go of what's just gone, and it brings us back to the present, and it also raises our energy levels again. So throughout the day we keep topping up our energy levels by doing those little meditations or relaxation exercises, say, and it means that we're performing better throughout the course of the day.
Oh, great what you said there, yeah, because like you say, we've learnt a lot from Jack, and he's passed down a lot of different things, regarding, just things that we do in Mindstore, in the meditations. It's massive for, because look, the environment, we live in, and, so many people live in fast-paced lives, and, and they don't take quality recovery time, as we call Alan, they, all of a sudden, if they don't take time to stop and, look after themselves, all of a sudden, sometimes it's that health warning until they change. And, I had a friend of mine actually, and he ended up, I'll just quickly share this story. He had a triple heart bypass, and it was just the lifestyle he was living, Alan, and it took him to actually have that. It's a guy just in his early 40s, and it took him for that to happen, for him to change his ways. He did. He wouldn't have he probably wouldn't mind me saying this, but he wouldn't do things like meditation and other things. You think, oh no, I'm not doing all that. It's not for me and things. But sometimes it takes the worst thing to happen to you to sort of change your ways, and that's no good, is it? You want people to sort of, I repeat myself again, but just have an open mind, and and have that sort of attitude of, like, just be curious in life, and just try to change. If you know you're doing the wrong things, that's the thing. Stop doing the things you shouldn't be doing, that you know you could stop doing. Right? So what would that be, Alan? That's an interesting thing. That would be like eating junk food.
Yep.
Like procrastinating, like, nothing wrong with watching the TV. Everybody loves the TV, but are you watching 6 hours of Netflix every single night that you should be doing something else? Something you're putting off an important project or something like that, or you should be spending more time with your loved ones or whatever, or picking up the phone and speaking to a friend. People that are listening will know the answers to these questions. So stop doing the things you shouldn't be doing. You sort of just get in your bed too late at night and wake up the next day tired, and then all of a sudden it's this ripple effect. You're getting it the next day, and then you're all of a sudden you're tired and you're fatigued and you're snapping and you're moaning and complaining. And like you say, it is this ripple effect if you don't take control, Alan, isn't it? As I say, me and Alan are not talking as if we're perfect or got it all together. Far from it. I know the mistakes I've made in my life. I know what I've had to do to change. I've been that guy that's buried his head into TV up late at night. All of a sudden, go to work the next day, you're feeling awful. And you just reach your comfort food, and all of a sudden, it's this big snowball ripple effect, and then you go, right, okay, need to change my ways here. So it shouldn't need to you to sort of something happened like it did for my friend for you to change your ways, Alan, shouldn't it? It should be just like taking a bit of self-responsibility, taking a bit of ownership to say, well, what can I actually do here that can make a difference to my life? And it doesn't need to be this big dramatic change, does it? It could be something small, just like you say, just go out for a walk, and then from that next day do like a walk and a jog, and then after that, another, like you say, read a couple of pages of a book a day. All of a sudden, they 2 pages a day could read to 10 pages a day. All of a sudden, I can't put this book down. I'll read it 2 or 3 times. I like that author. I'll get another one of his books, and then all of a sudden, honestly, I just think it's this whole open mind thing is like, for me, it's blown me away, because I'm always curious about things, and I want to teach that to other people, just to sort of keep an open mind. And I'm not saying necessarily I agree with everything I'm saying, but just take it on board and learn different things for yourself. So don't know how that started there, but it finished with that anyway.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, William. That's grand.
Yeah, so that's the thing tonight, Alan. We've just decided to do like a sort of an open chat, so it's going to go in different places. So I think it's quite good though. I'm enjoying it tonight. It's like to have it sort of quite no bullet points and just let it flow naturally. But it's all about, like we say, keeping the vision, helping people out there that want to change their ways or just want to sort of think differently, to help themselves in different ways in any walk of life, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd mentioned earlier on in this episode that there's lots of systems out there. We're obviously very familiar with the Mindstore system created by Jack Black, and we're obviously going to be touching on that stuff throughout the course of the podcast. And but there's lots of other, I mentioned there, there's the work that Esther and Jerry Hicks do. Fantastic content, fantastic exercises. You could, you don't need to even buy their books. There's loads of content on YouTube there, and you just pick up one of those episodes at a time and just stick with it. My gut feeling is, there's a system out there to suit everyone. I know that back in 2005, I discovered Paul McKenna and his, Change Your Life in 7 Days, and I absolutely loved that. It was a critical. I don't want to say critical. That sounds a bit dramatic. It was a challenging time for me at that time. 2005 was a challenging time for me. So discovering Paul McKenna's book, Change Your Life in 7 Days, was a godsend for me. And I worked my way through that. I just stuck with it. And talk about, just things like increasing your confidence when it was a bit of a low. So like I say, that's one system. People might feel comfortable with that kind of work. Other people might feel comfortable with the Mindstore way. Other people might like Bob Proctor. So where am I actually going with this? Yeah, of course it's good to be open-minded, as you've mentioned a lot in this episode, William, but I think if you stick to one system, you're more likely to find success, I would say, because with a system, you have to, it's all very well reading it all and getting it all intellectually, but you need to do the work. That's the bottom line. You need to do the work. You can't just read a book and sit back and go, brilliant, that I really get that. Well, that's good, but nothing's going to happen. Do the work to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it's not as if, so I'm kind of making this point now to our friends from the Glasgow Mindstore group. It's not like any of us are looking for any endorsement of the work that Jack does, but I've recently read The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles and The Strangest Secret by Errol Nightingale. And they could just be extracts, from the Mind Store way, if you like. Both books talk about goal setting being key to advancing our lives and taking action.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a common theme throughout, the stuff that we're going to talk about. Goals are what gets us out of bed in the morning. It's what builds our enthusiasm to, move forward, take action, and achieve success. So again, I've gone off on one as well now, but there you go.
That's great, Alan. Great recommendations. I love that because we've obviously bounced ideas off each other. And like you say, you're right what you say though. If stick to some kind of system, but everybody knows what will be right for them. And obviously, I made some points earlier. But yeah, so a system is like just to sort of. I think with Mindstore it's been a brilliant foundation for me to always get back to, but always trying, like you say, tried and evolve in different ways. Like I've tried NLP and do different things, and went into hypnotherapy and looked at a bit more deeply into that. But that's the only thing I was saying. The point I was making about being open-minded into different things. But it's just all content to sort of learn how to evolve your ways of thinking and goal setting is like the obviously the main thing, I think, because there's always something that you want to achieve. It's not about sort of staying still in life or not being content, because some people would there's people that go to the group that are, maybe just, they don't set goals, but they just go because it makes them feel good, and which is absolutely amazing.
Of course.
So whatever makes you feel good, that's the bottom line. So, no, so we've covered a lot of great things tonight, Alan. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, I think we've ended up doing pretty much a full episode, which is cool. So I'm wondering if it's at this point we can mention to our listeners and viewers that in the next episode, episode 6, we have the lovely Susie Mollison on as our first guest of Keep the Vision. We plan to record that next week. Susie is a great friend of William and I, and we all met through the Glasgow Mindstore group, and I can't wait to hear Susie's input into the journey that she's taken and where she's going.
Yeah, absolutely. She's such an inspiration, isn't she? And I think she's got her own page on Facebook. If anybody wanted to follow her, she's doing a lot of things like with her business and moving to America, and she's just a great person and such a great spirit, isn't she? So looking forward to interviewing Susie on the next episode, and then after that we'll just get different guests on. Hopefully people like what me and Alan are talking about, but we'd like to sort of evolve the podcast and get different guests on, just to get different guests, their life experiences and a bit of insight how their own journey, whatever it is. We've got some ideas of another coach and anybody that's involved in business, or just great members of the community, I think, as well, like you say, like people that are sort of inspirational, let's just put it that way. So but no, looking forward to obviously speaking to Susie next week, and and I've really enjoyed tonight, Alan. Thanks again.
So have I, William. Thank you very much for your time, and it's been great to see you. It's been great to chat to you. And and thank you again to everyone that's tuned in.